Jones with Jones Consulting. I'm a certified consultant for ADFA. Give you a little history of my background. Third generation builder and developer. My dad, he developed Vermont Heights in El Dorado back years ago, right after World War II. I grew up there in El Dorado. I have been working with ADFA well, I've been tied up with building and doing grants and ADFA and CDBG funds and working with those type of programs for years, but since I've been there for the past 6 years, I've seen most of the dollars. I haven't seen any big dollars coming south. It's all going to the Delta. I'd like to see some of it come home to mine, where I was raised. I mean, do y'all not need help here? I'm here to help, try to bring it here. We help implement the program. We do ask the cities to give their time and effort. That's what it'll cost, with an ad in the paper. And of course, the time and effort is lots of little things, but there's not it's kind of the best way to solve any problems of trying to get into ADFA's program without going too deep into it and just spending all night here telling y'all about it, because they work out of a book about yay big, okay? So I'm here to answer any questions that y'all might have, and I can do that. Would probably be I find that that's the easiest way to explain it to most folks. And I've made a packet for y'all to pass around and look at, kind of tell you what the other cities are doing. They found out that the housing authorities, it's costing them too much to keep those people trained to go after these dollars. I come in, do it all, make it simple. They say it's with a bow tie. I told the mayor tonight that if he wanted to follow through with this, I've got 3 or 4 other mayors he can call that I've already implemented this program with. And these are some of the programs that we've already done. So the dollars are there. If y'all want to go after it, we can do, they allow up to $450,000 per go-round. That's a total of 5 homes. I don't know how many people are familiar with ADFA that's here tonight. Can I see a hand of how many is familiar with ADFA, Arkansas Development Finance? 1, 2, 3 people? Yeah, maybe I did need to come down here. Well, it's money that the state gets and then it's distributed out. There is PJs set up around the state. There's so many dollars comes into the state, and then the PJs are divided up. What's not used goes to Arkansas Development Finance. They end up spreading that money out to the rest of the state. So it's there for anybody. But the only way to apply for it is with a certified consultant or a certified person in your housing authority. That's a new rule came down, what, 2 years ago? 2 years ago. Used to, they had anybody could be a consultant. Now they've got some parameters on it. So they're getting it a lot more locked down than what it used to be. It's a pretty clean program. If anybody's looked at that and got any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them at this time.
Paul, how many houses did you say were in the package?
5. Normally they request 5. I've seen them release less than 5. If you get stumbled and you only have 4 applicants and I've done all the approvals and everything, and we're approaching that 4 months, we pretty much go and call it and go in and try to ask for 4. After 6 months, I have to go back in and recertify these people each time that we go through the packets when we're doing the approval. So we may go through 10, we may go through 50 applicants before we find those 5. So we need brochures passed out into the churches. We need word of mouth. We just ask y'all to be able to put that out there for us. So, and I'm more than glad. I donate my time up front and don't get paid till the rear. So it doesn't cost you anything. You don't sign a contract with me until I produce 5 of those with a procured contract. Or 4, whatever we elect to go with. Other than the ad in the paper. That's how simple it is.
What do you get paid when
We get paid, they call it a project delivery cost, and it comes from that. It's what they allow, is 10% of the project.
Who pays this?
ADFA. Actually, you'll be paying it, because we'll do the drawdown from ADFA, and you pay me at that time when it goes into the account. The way I've set it up is, as the builder is building these houses, my fee comes out at the same time, because I'm doing the draws and everything for you. I hand over a full set of Excel spreadsheets for you with the way the draws are all gonna go. It's just like a banker's draw. Basically, that's what it is. You're playing the bank.
So the funds are given to the city in advance?
Once the work is complete, I put in a drawdown. If you're awarded the grant, I'll put in a drawdown for each time the builder gets a certain percent. Now, that has to go through a lot of reports. You're gonna have probably your city inspector out there, we're gonna have a ADFA inspector out there, I'm gonna be there, and the homeowner's gonna be there. So we have everybody's eyes looking at everything we do. And we sign all these reports, and then we draw it down. Now, once it's drawn down, it goes into account, and then I require what I normally do, I even pay for the wires in and out. So the money, there's no chance of changing hands. I don't want money changing hands. You get that changing hand stuff, and you run into all this stuff, and we won't go that direction. But anyway, if we just wire it to the city, then there will be one wire out a month to the builder and one wire out a month to the consultant. It's that simple.
But the city is never out anything except for the time of the city inspector going out and looking at it.
And he will have to go in once a year and do a report, which the report consists of pictures of the home, making sure they still live there. And they will need to turn over to the mayor a copy of their homeowner's insurance and their paid taxes. And that's all that's requested.
Is there any other cost to the homeowner itself?
Well, you get into that, and the way the program's designed is when we tear these houses down and rebuild them, we're approving these people for the money. They will be paying $207 a month based on a $45,000. The houses we're building are 90. 50% of that is forgiven as the notes are paid down. In other words, when that person starts paying down one payment, then on the forgivable side, it comes down one payment. So it just equally comes down. That way, if, let's say somebody passed away and one of the family members wanted to take over that home, they can come in, if they qualify on the low and moderate income level, they can assume it right where it's at. If they can't, they can still purchase a house either by appraised value or pay off the amount that's owed on both sides of the note. Does that make sense?
I'm totally ignorant of this program, and I was one of the ones that did not raise my hand. I feel like we're putting a roof on before we've got the foundation. What occurs? Who comes to whom to start this procedure?
I will get y'all all a brochure in your hands, or I'll get a.
Well, I read the paragraph.
Right. We help y'all get the word out. I'll have applications at the city for y'all to hand out, or each one of y'all, whoever wants to help implement. Usually we find one or two in the cities that have a backbone that will go out there and help us get it out there.
That money's available.
That the money's
build a new
available.
house, tear down the existing structure, build a new house.
Mm-hmm.
Their payment's gonna be $207 a month for.
Roughly, for 20 years.
For 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Who takes care of the demolition and?
We procure all that out. We're gonna procure a contractor.
Okay, and that is done, if you're Jones Consultant, that sounds like you work for yourself, but how do you get into this ADFA situation? What do they do?
Schools and seminars, and I mean, you gotta go through a one-week class. I sat with 2 attorneys going through the class, and they've even had problems with it. I keep telling everybody, you almost have to have a builder's background along with some kind of education towards finance. I mean, it's just a knack. We're gonna actually, to get to your question, I think what you're asking is that, how do you get from point A to point B?
Or in between?
or in between. Well, I'll give you a real example. We did for the county judge, Chico, he's gonna implement the program for the county of Chico. The mayor of Lake Village stepped on board with him. They're gonna do the program simultaneously while the county's doing theirs. So they'll have two programs in their county working to go after this money. They put a public hearing in the paper. We had 70 people turn out. Now, the main thing is when these people start turning in, some of them will mail them to us. We found that it's probably best if it goes through the city. That way somebody can put a stamp that it was received. I just need a receive time on it. Right now we're using mail, what is it, when you stamp your mail canceled, it's got a time and date on it. Anyway, we use that if they mailed it directly with us. The main reason why is HUD likes to make sure that you're tracking this, that somebody don't come back to the city and say, oh no, I had my application in before they did, or this or that. You know, and you could run into that if you get a bunch of them applying at the same time.
They come to the mayor and ask.
They won't ask, they'll just come and pick up an application. They'll go home, fill it out, or they'll call me and I'll help them fill it out. And if I get a group of them, I'll even come down here and help them fill it out and explain it to them. The public hearing, I actually come and speak at the public hearing and explain the whole program.
Now, you mentioned HUD a while ago, but it says this act abolishes HUD, is it? Is what it said?
It's on this,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Is HUD still involved?
See, you're talking about ADFA. Arkansas Development Finance Authority receives the money from the state. The state receives it from HUD. Okay? This is a HUD funded program.
That old 235 homes or something like that?
That was I remember the old 235 home program. Yeah. I was involved in some of that building too, but yeah, no, this is totally different.
Well, I'm still a little.
It's what they've seen, I guess what HUD saw in Washington, this is me seeing through the lines, is that they saw that there was a need to try to put a stop to the smaller towns and cities around the country where people were just moving out and leaving their houses, and then the city's stuck there with a structure. They got to pay to go tear it down. They've lost the revenue off of that. They've got to pay somebody to go out there and mow it every year, 2 or 3 times a year. It's costing the city money. Plus, they've lost the person that lived there that was spending money in that community. So, in my book, it looked like they wanted to try to put a stopper in it and slow it down some with this program here. Will slow it down, and then the next program that I'm working with, City of Conway right now, and they called me today, but they put together all their vacant lots, and they're doing a program where they've used some CDBG funds and bought up property right there at Hendricks College, right beside it. And they've got about 7 lots there, and they're trying to get 4 more, and they want to do a community and rebuild that whole block. So what they're doing is they're procuring a contractor, and I was with one of the contractors that I consult with, wanted me to come on board with that project. But what they're doing is they're gonna take that lot, they're gonna put a value on it, $25,000. Then when the person, we come in and we build a house on the lot, then if the person qualifies for some subsidy help on down payment assistance or closing costs, at that point, the city will turn around and write a grant to them for that lot, giving them that as a down payment on that new home. That program can be implemented here too. I'm very familiar with that one. So there's lots of other avenues, but this program that I'm talking to y'all about tonight is the ADFA program. It's funds that comes into the state that's available for anybody in the state. And what's surprising to me is that I just don't see that much of it coming south. And I'm just curious why.
How are the applicants, once they turn in their application, who makes the selection of which ones qualify?
It's first come, first served.
Okay. And then
That's why the stamp is kind of, and it has to be a full pack. If they turn in a package and they're still liking their warranty deed or their paid tax receipt or their income statement, and that's what she does most of the underwriting and checking over it. And then, of course, it's still underwritten by the underwriters there at ADFA, but we pretty much have a strong back there with what's going on. As long as we don't pull the credit reports, we let ADFA do all that.
Well,
Mr. Mr. Taylor?
does the city council have to do?
Here,
Other than the working you've already mentioned, anything else that we gotta vote on to approve or?
just giving the mayor permission to move forward with this. The reason ADFA wants this is because of that yearly checkup that they do. They've run into places where the mayor had implemented the program without getting the permission from the city council. And then when it came up, the new mayor ends up getting elected, says they don't know nothing about it. Now ADFA's got to put the manpower and their dollars down there to go and take a picture every year, you know, because they can't get any help. Well, that town, and they're working on a few right now, but that town doesn't receive any more grants till they get back up to compliance. So there's a few cities right now that had housing authorities that are trying to get caught back up to compliance so they can go after the dollars.
A few years ago, we had a contractor from Texas County Planning and talked to us about this program.
Mm-hmm.
And we agreed to do it, but somehow it just.
He was a contractor,
It was a consultant.
consultant.
Yeah. And,
Was he certified by the state?
I assume that's.
I think I sent my RFQ in. Did everybody get a copy of my RFQ?
He was certified.
Okay.
And he came before the city and the county and got the okay, but somewhere down the line, he just.
Did he not get the application?
Yeah, he sent one of his employees down and they took the application and got everything to go on, but for some reason he just didn't follow through.
Yeah, well, I pretty well follow through. I don't get paid unless I get followed through. I mean, stop and think, if I don't follow through, I don't get paid. If there ain't a house going up out there, I don't get paid.
Sir, who are the builders? Is that out for bid?
That's out for bid. As a matter of fact, we hope that there's a local comes in and bids it. Yeah, that's usually the best for me. 'Cause, yeah, yeah. And I'll sit down and go over a cost breakdown with them, make sure they're capable of building the house. Like I said, I'm capable. I built, at the City of Little Rock, I did for Mayor Daley up there. They had some CDD funds and I was a builder back then. And we built 19 houses for the City of Little Rock. And I put a third place award on his desk. Not to brag on myself, but I have done my job.
To follow up Mr. Farah,
Yeah.
try to use local contractors.
Yep.
Try to
Would be
use
great.
local suppliers.
Exactly.
We have one local supplier. Would you come back to that local supplier and try to negotiate if that local supplier was not?
Well,
Low
no,
bid.
you gotta follow procurement. Procurement in my book is, it'll be an open bid. So when they come in and bid, now once we select our bids and we get with the contractors, then we go down it, and it is really, there's some things you can look at with the builder under the procurement law, and that would be an attorney's question there that can help us through that if we ever run into it. But I think on the procurement, once we've procured the contractor, usually it's not always your cheapest bid is your best bid, but it's your,
Responsible.
I'm letting her answer it, most responsible bidder is usually your best one. Once we've done the background checks on him and see, we wanna go see his product, go see how long he's been out there, all that good stuff. Once we've done all that, then we make, we come in, y'all are the ones that make the decision on who the contractor's gonna be. We'll put an input and let you know what we found out, if there's anything that we feel about it, or anything I found out. I just know, the chairman of the board of the licensing board for the state's a real good friend of mine. I signed his application, so I will find out if they're a decent builder, so.
Okay, so our city inspector would be he would be involved in a new building of any kind.
Yeah.
So he'll be there.
He'll be there.
What other cities are you currently working with?
Right now, I did 5 for Mayor Sims up in Dice, Arkansas, where old Johnny Cash was. We worked with Mayor of Reed, that's Mayor Smith. We're actually doing one with him right now, his second go-round. We've worked with Jack May, City of McGee. We just finished his first go-round, and we're getting ready to submit his second go-round. We're working with Mayor Bush there in Lake Village. And Judge, Matt Ball Jr., for the county of Chico, and I've had the judge of Lincoln County call me, want me to come look at their county and see if I can help them out. I'm down here because I got good friends down here, and I'm gonna go horseback riding after this meeting, and I'd like to see y'all go after some of this money, and that's why I'm down here. I'm not trying to sell y'all on anything that you can't do yourselves. Y'all can procure another consultant if you'd like, I don't have a problem with that, but I just want y'all to know about the program. Now, with that being said, if y'all give the mayor permission to move forward, then I will get y'all all whatever y'all want.
Okay, I have something before they say anything. I still want to sit down with the city inspector, with the city treasurer, and the city attorney,
Okay. No problem.
whatever they direct me to do.
Right, that's fine.
If they direct me.
If they do it. Right.
You mentioned the contractors are selected by, you said us.
Mhm.
Would us be the council or the mayor or the city inspector?
That's up to y'all, however y'all wanna handle it, though. Normally, the mayor usually says that's it. That's where the buck usually stops, is with the mayor. He's the one that's responsible for everything usually anyway. Is that not right, Mayor? I hate to put it that way, but isn't that where it all ends up going?
Everything.
It usually floats there.
There, it floats there,
When,
right?
when a builder bids, is he building on a specific house or? is he
Yeah, he'll
building
bid on it.
one
Yeah.
or 5 houses?
He can bid on all 5 of them. I prefer to work with one contractor through the whole 5 houses, because normally, as anybody here on the council, if y'all are familiar with building, you can get a lot better pricing on a volume pricing than you can on a single pricing. So, yeah, he can bid on all 5 of them. Now, we have had some of the counties come in and the cities volunteer to come in and tear them down.
Well, I think it's a,
What do y'all charge the homeowners when you tear them down, Mayor?
I think it's a win-win for our city, and I'd like us to, if we decide to go that route, I'd like the whole body to be in agreement on it, because I think it would look good for all of us
Yeah, it would.
to rebuild our city.
Well said.
I ask it was the council's duty to approve the contract.
He's shaking his head, yeah, that's fine. That's probably the best way too for all of us.
I think
Procurement officer in our state of Arkansas comes down and looks at it, you have to look at all of it.
Didn't, Paul, didn't we say that this is like a $450,000 package?
Yeah, it'll be a $450,000 package, each house based on 90,000. I've had them range anywhere from 82,000 to 90,000. I've had some bids come in at, over on the Delta, come in for 135,000. Well, we can't do that. They only allow up to 90, so.
I'd like a contractor to be upset with all of us, not just me, if they don't get the bid.
Well, there are some buildings on this council.
Well, if you leave it to the mayor, then you could probably, I don't know, I think I'll have to read up on that, and the city attorney might have to help me read up on it, but I don't know if that would be a conflict of interest unless we ran it by, we could run it up the flagpole, run it through HUD and through the state. If we disclose everything and they sign off on it, then it's not any of our fault. It'll be theirs. They gave us permission.
I have one other question, otherwise that sounds like a real win-win project for our city, but well, in the event, say the house costs only $70,000, is the homeowner obligated to that?
For only 50% of that 70,000.
Just of that, but their payment's still fixed at the?
No, it would be ammed at 20 years, over 20 years at 1%. And I don't have my am schedule here tonight. Yep.
David, you see how much more workload that will put on you?
What he's saying is just, I mean, it would be a typical inspection on 5 houses, so that's not a lot, and then they added 1 visit.
Every year you'll go out and take a picture, yeah. And make sure they're still living there, and that's it.
My question is, what standard are we building to?
We would build, are y'all as strict as the state standards?
We carry all state standards and the international building code.
Okay. Well, you're probably gonna be fine, and I understand that ADFA's looking at maybe going back, and we may have to go to they may make us go and get a HERS rater and go back to Energy Star this next year. And y'all would probably be that far out before you probably got your first funding anyway, or be close.
I think what Mr. Ferris is saying here is, Paul, why not, and if the council doesn't want to do this, that's fine with me too, why not, Mr. Nelson, Kim, Mr. Bell and I sit down with Paul, try to get a meeting before our next council meeting. We all have a good understanding, I'll come back, report back to you at our July meeting, and we're in or out, how's that? Mr. Taylor?
What occurs if, is a city in any way responsible on a foreclosure?
Let me tell you how that, I've seen it work since I've been there at ADFA. ADFA works with people that try to work with them. If you've sent your letters out and you've tried to help them find somebody, because see, they're in Little Rock. Y'all are here. Huh?
Who sends
The mayor will send out a letter if it gets, or the city inspector will send out a letter and say, look, we need to get your payments. Well, no, ADFA will take care of the payments. I'm sorry. ADFA takes care of that part of it. But if ADFA does get the house back, then they would like to see y'all help them try, which is to get someone back into the house. And if you've done your due diligence of going out there trying to get somebody, that's all they have. That's all they can have.
What's the final washout, the house just sit there?
If you don't get somebody in it, I know that El Dorado got in a crunch with two of them, and I went in and helped Mayor Dumas down there. He had two that they'd built on a spec program. I can't believe the city was building spec houses. That blows me away. And they couldn't sell them. They owed ADFA up in the upper neighborhoods of the dollars, and that the houses wouldn't sell for that. So I advised the mayor to go and get an appraisal of what the market value was today. And he did, and he presented that to ADFA, and I understand they got them sold. So they work with you. ADFA's not this mean monster up there, because they want those federal dollars flowing into this state too. They just want y'all's help in getting it to the right people.
The city's only expense is the
Time and effort.
city inspector
Mm-hmm.
and the newspaper ad to put the project out to bid.
Yeah.
The city-
Brochures.
The city is not on the hook for any payments, anything of that nature.
Not that I know of.
What do you find out about that?
My wife says there's not.
Well,
We'll double check it. I don't blame you. We'll double check that, but I couldn't foresee any of these other cities wanting to go in that, and I already know. They've already done these programs before. They were familiar with it. Two of them were that I came into. And so I haven't seen any problems with it.
Any other, Mr. Bell?
I'm just curious, is what you're proposing tonight, what you're asking, if I understand you, is are we interested in proceeding with the program?
Right.
If we are, then you put together a grant proposal and submit it to the city to proceed.
No, I will send you over an example of my contract that y'all need to be prepared to sign once we
Maybe
get
we need
through,
that.
and
Maybe we need that so that we can consider it.
I can maybe go ahead and call, as big as Magnolia and as much as y'all wanna check this out being new in it, I can call Joe and he might give me an example of the contract you're gonna sign with ADFA too. So that way you can read over both of them.
I think that would be-
Okay. You understand? And so at that point, then y'all can really, that'll pretty much explain all the obligations y'all will be doing. Okay?
Something I wanna, if we decide to go this route, something I wanna be careful of, if you're saying basically they get $90,000 to, not build a house, but to improve whatever property is there. Well, we need to be careful of, and then half of that is granted.
It's
Right.
forgiven.
I mean,
It's called a
and
forgiveness.
some are
The
forgiven.
state says it's
Okay.
forgiven.
What I want us to be careful of is that we're not, putting saying that this $90,000 is owed, but this house is not, would never bring 90,000 or is not worth 90,000. You see what I'm saying? You can put $90,000 into something, but not
It'll still not be
necessarily
worth that.
worth 90,000.
Trust me, I know. I
You see,
builder.
you follow what I'm
With the
saying? I
market
want us
that's out
to
there, yeah.
be careful to not put somebody in a situation that's not good for them.
Well,
Just because it's.
they're actually, here's what I've run against, and I understand your question. What I've seen is that you have, a lot of these houses, I don't know if you look through the book, but most of these people that we're running into, they've got a $350 to $450 a month electric bill. That's what it costs them. So if they're gonna pay $207 for a new house and $50 on their electric bill, they're actually saving money, and they're in a healthier environment.
Did you
Right.
see the before and after pictures?
Yeah, I do. But if, okay.
You're thinking value, up on value.
I'm
This
thinking
is,
value, and yeah, and I'm thinking if something happens to this person, and you said maybe family member buys it or something, but then it's not forgiven anymore, you know.
Yeah, if they don't qualify,
2 years
they're
into
low and
this,
moderate
If they
income.
don't qualify, well, now there's $90,000.
well, they'd have to pay off, well, no, it wouldn't be 90, it would be as he makes a, let's say they
If
lasted,
they're 2 years into it.
let's say they're 10 years into it, let's make an easy number, say they're 10 years into it.
Right.
So what's that, half of 45, what is that, 22.5? So 22.5 and 22.5 is what, 45,000? So now the house, you could sell it for $45,000
Right.
outright to anybody. And you have to, of course, anything you do here needs to have permission by ADFA. Always, just remember one thing, ask permission from ADFA before you do anything on this, on their monies when they put them down.
What kind of interest rate are you amortizing this at?
1%. Yeah, I mean, where can you go and buy a house and have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, brand new home for $210 plus taxes and insurance? I don't even think you
It's
can rent
not
that.
improvements at all, it's just a
No,
new house.
It's a new house. I don't do the rehab. They have a rehab grant program for $25,000. I don't agree with it. I won't do it because it's too much paperwork.
Ms. Russ has a good question.
Sure.
In this housing, would it be per se for low-income people?
Low and moderate income, I've got a income level sheet that I only did 5. I didn't realize I probably should have did at least one of those for everybody.
Okay, tell you what, let's do, Paul, get me the contract for.
I'll do it.
And for ADFA.
I'll see if I can get one out of
City
yours
attorney.
and an example, yeah.
And, of course, he'll talk and I'll listen, and then we'll
Right.
get back together with the treasurer and city inspector, and maybe pull you in after he looks at that, and we review it.
Yeah, and then if y'all decide to go forward from there, I think the thing that they've had the most success with is getting the brochures to the churches, getting the word of mouth out there, and then maybe have a public hearing. I'll come down and talk to the people that are interested in the program. That saves y'all a bunch of having to answer questions that y'all aren't familiar with, and I can explain it to them, hand out applications, and we can go from there.
Sounds good.
One last question for you real quick. Is there a pot of this money, or is this unlimited, like,
Comes every year right now so far. They've cut them back every year. I think they've taken how much of a lick? 36% lick in the last 3 years. So, dollars aren't as many as they've had in the past. I know one year that the state gave $2 million back to that, and I said, they need me here.
Anything else for Paul at this time? Okay. Just FYI, I spoke